Most video games let a gamer step into the shoes of somebody else, often somebody impossibly powerful. The experience is similar when you watch a movie or read a book. The audience projects themselves into the story and experiences the conflict and change from the outside. So what happens when a book is about a gamer? What happens to the hero's journey when the protagonist is pretending to be a hero in a surrogate world? Ready Player One answers that question, although it does so accidentally. The answer is nothing happens. The player doesn't affect the world at all. And that's why Ready Player One doesn't just fail as a story. It also fails as a message. Here's a summary of the story. It is the year 2044. Humanity has failed. The rich have shifted everything in their favor. The Earth is overcrowded and most people are poor. The protagonist, Wade Watts, escapes his misery by playing a virtual MMO called Oasis. Within Oasis is an Easter egg hunt worth $500 billion and executive control of the game. Wade and his friends discover the Easter eggs and win the massive prize. And even though he resolves to live to the fullest in the real world, the story ends here. The book is a massive success. A movie version directed by Steven Spielberg opens in March. The story is a lexicon of both video game and 1980s references, and it seems fitting that the film should have Spielberg at the helm. The problem with Ready Player One is, in spite of its references to 1980s culture and video games, it completely misses the bigger picture. Most 1980s movies and most video games are about heroes, but there's no hero's journey in Ready Player One. The contrast is most evident when you examine the content of 1980s media. The 1980s was an era of optimism and sincerity. It was, to kids like me, the era of Saturday morning cartoons, Top Gun, and the Return of the Jedi. The theme was always the same: save the day and never give up. That spirit echoed in American life. Doomsdayers claimed we would run out of oil. Instead, we found new ways to locate, use, and reuse it. We faced down the USSR, a regime that killed at least 20 million of its own people. We won more gold medals in the 1984 Olympics than any country before or since. We raised the standard of living around the world. We believed. That doesn't happen in Ready Player One. It is set in a dystopia where most of the population hides inside of video games, and Watts is their mouthpiece. In the first chapter, he voices nearly every cliché complaint of the millennial generation. Capitalism is a trap set by elites. God and human purpose are a lie. Human progress and peace are doomed by climate change and an energy crisis. These are already mainstream beliefs among young people, which is probably part of the book's success. But let me pose a question based on Klein's dystopian world. If most of the population gives up and turns to video games to find purpose, is it any wonder that the real world would fall apart? If nobody is growing the hell up and fighting for the world, then yeah, it's guaranteed to go to hell. That's all fine for Wade Watts though. In terms of character growth, he hasn't even left his house yet. He's now a sort of esports god, but he has done nothing to change the world he lives in. Yet the final message of the book is that it's enough to be a hero in a pretend world. I'm not at all suggesting that video games are bad. I love to play some FF15 after a long day. It's an escape into a world where I have control and my choices have immediate favorable results. But the truth is, we're not supposed to put faith into those games, because video games cannot make you grow. Everyone is supposed to be the hero of his or her story, and nobody can do that while pretending to be somebody else inside of a game. To do anything heroic, you have to be playing in this world. It's only in this world that we can prevent a future dystopia, and it's only in this world that we can prevent our own lives from stagnating and withering. That's hard. Growing is painful. You fail. Sometimes you wonder if you know anything at all. You discover how nasty the world is, just as Wade Watts did. But Wade Watts never does anything about it. There's a Greek legend called the choice of Hercules that explains the choice between pleasure and virtue. It was told to young people about 2.5 millennia ago, so this conflict has obviously been around since ever. But I think we can actually take inspiration from video games. I have a simple real-world philosophy that comes from playing RPGs. On any given day, most people are NPCs. They wander aimlessly inside the safety of the town. In real-world terms, they watch their screens. They wait for life to happen, and they let others do the work. But on that same day, a few people choose to be the player characters. They know there's evil outside, waiting to get in. And instead of wandering around in town, they go out to face evil. They say to themselves, I'm going to conquer evil, even if I look stupid, even if it takes me forever, and even if I die trying. My advice is, leave the town, level up, save the day. In real life. Start with yourself. Get strong. Get responsible. It's less of a choice than a moral imperative. If you don't believe me, take it from Roy Campbell in Metal Gear Solid.
Please, Snake. Just stop them. Why should I? Because you're the only one who can.